World of Tanks Blitz is a game that is very skill dependent, but to how much skill can you actually influence the battles? Even as a player like myself, which is one of the top performers on the NA server, going at around 75%, I still lose 25% of the games I play. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but if I told you that tomorrow walking down the street you'd have a 25% chance of getting ran over by some old lady, then you probably wouldn't go outside. And that's kind of how Blitz teams work. Usually, it'll be an okay experience. You'll play through your game, it'll be okay. You'll get a little bit of damage here, a little bit there, farms. The first game's pretty fast. Then maybe the next game you get, everybody on your team will steamroll the enemy, no competition whatsoever. Alright, the next game, super, super tricky. You're like, damn, I carried this really good. And then the next battle, boom, insta loss, doesn't matter what you do. And obviously, the less skilled you are, the more the games that are harder to win are going to result in losses. Instead of somewhat carryable situations, depending on your skill level, they are not carryable. So in today's video, I'm going to showcase what I do in a losing situation. And I don't mean as in what I do to try and turn the battle around and win. This is more what I try to do to get out as much damage while not bleeding and maximizing my tank's potential, even if I know it's a guaranteed loss. Usually, wins are not where a lot of good players get their damage out, because a win is, sometimes very team dependent. If you have a team that just steamrolls immediately and you're in a heavy tank, you're not going to get much damage out. But if you're in a game where your team loses, you might be able to get 4, 5, 6,000 damage out just by using your HP, trading with opponents. Even if you do lose, it'll still be a big chunk of damage so that it evens out with the rest of the games you play. Make your losses count. That's what I always say. So we are going to go over to Blitz, and I'm going to showcase a replay that I got during a live stream maybe a couple days ago in this tier 10 heavy. Now, I really like the VZ. I think after the latest update, a lot of the weaknesses have been taken away. It's just kind of what the 5A should have been. Because of that, I've been playing it a lot lately. Plus, it just looks really, really nice with the camo. So we are going to go over to the replays and scroll over to favorites. And there it is, the VZ on Yukon. First thing I always try to do, at least when I'm streaming, is look at the enemy lineup. I don't do it as much when I play solo, but to be fair, I don't really play the game as much without recording. So up against us, we have an AMX-50B, an E50M, 183, IS-4, Leopard, T100LT, and a T110E3. The main things you always want to focus on are the heavies, because you have to think of where their heavies are going to go. Their tank destroyers, because you got to think of what you are going to be punished for if you make an over-aggression. And finally, where your team's going. See, normally, I would make my way over towards heavy side, and I would usually go this route, and I would go all the way wide like this and try to get to a spot over here, maybe side scrape, stay hull down. This is a pretty good position. I don't usually like to go this route here and climb up, just because of the fact if there's a fast enough heavy, it'll get hull down right on this little spot, and it'll bonk you every time you poke. But obviously, seeing that my entire team is going to medium side, I am as well going to head over here and try and help them out. Now, sticking with the team is always a good idea. I'm a person who used to get very angry when teams did not go the way I wanted them to, and sometimes I would just flat out die because I went alone. I've definitely changed that about my gameplay, and it's definitely helped me in certain situations. This will be one of those. So right now, you'll notice I'm looking off to my right, and I'm a little worried. We do shoot at the T100LT, and that does end up penetrating, which is pretty nice. But the problem is we're already down an E50M, which is not good. And I was looking off to the right to see if any tank destroyers or heavies were going to poke. It's always a bit scary when you have this complete opening here, and they've got vehicles like a 50B that could just easily bonk me in the side. So because of that, that's why I was looking over to the sides. I can't poke up here because I know they have vehicles like the 183 and the E3 in front, but thankfully the 50B did get spotted at this point. By the way, we're now downing FE2 and 5B 183, who we can see is right there. At this point, seeing my 30B and my E50M and my WZ-132-1 right into the front, like, I knew that this was an instant loss. So what I need to do at this point is figure out how I want to farm damage. I've dealt about 900. We've penned 2 shots. We've got the E50M in front of us, which I'm not able to pen, so that's not going to help me at all. We got really no opportunities to shoot the E50M. But we do see the 183 in front of us, so we're going to get a nice shell into his vehicle. At this point, I know the 183 is shot, and I also know, seeing that the 50B and everybody else is rolling behind my WZ, more towards my E3, that I'm going to pull forwards, as this will be the best decision I can make. There is an IS-4 on my side, but I'm not too worried about that. While this is obviously a guaranteed loss, I have 2 tank destroyers behind me. And even if they do get the E3 cleared, they also have the E4 behind, which they're going to be held back on. So right now, the smartest thing that I can do is just try hold here and make the best of what I can. So we're going to aim it on the 50B. I'm going to get a nice bonk right into the roof of his vehicle for 500, and we are up to now 2,200 damage with the blind shot on the T100. We got the E3, but oh boy, that is an FE2 and 5B 183. We're going to get a pen into his vehicle. We're going to pull forward so he can't shoot us back, and just like that, the 183 is not in a very good situation. We see the IS-4s rolling off to the side. Because I know the 183 is on reload, we're okay there. But for some reason, our E3 said, yes, I'm going to YOLO and kill myself. So, yeah, not great. Now, I see that there's a 183 on the side. So again, I'm going to use my shell to finish off the 183. At this point, there's a Leopard and a 50B, which I'm going to have to worry about. But the Leopard's obviously the big threat. I know the IS-4 went wide, so I don't need to worry about him. So at this point, I'm just going to keep on backing up, stay out of the 50B's line of sight. Here we go. Nice. Okay, we're in cover. We're going to aim it on the Leopard, see if we can get it clear. You know what? Let's not. It doesn't matter if you get kills. Obviously, when you're in a situation like this, it doesn't matter because it's not going to change the outcome of the battle. So I went for damage instead of the kill on that Leopard, which obviously makes sense. At this point, it's not going to matter what I end up doing. We got 2 more seconds left, and unfortunately, we're not able to get it out. But as you can see, every moment in that battle, while it was going on, I took advantage of the situation I was in. Even though I knew it was a loss, I still didn't give up hope. I put out as much damage as possible. We ended up blocking 2,540 and dealing 4,000 in this result. And I'm not in a vehicle that has high DPM, nor am I in a tank that has great mobility, and I have some of the worst reverse speed at 13 kilometers per hour in tier 10. But using my brain, I was able to position myself properly and just make sure that I didn't get completely bombarded. This is something that you want to do, especially if you want to get better stats and become more skilled at the game. You need to make your losses count. Pay attention to what's going on in the battle. First things first, don't ever go wide in your mediums. This is like factual. When you go wide in your mediums, you're already solidifying yourself a spot that you can't get out of. Number 1 rule of thumb as a skilled player, I never put myself in a spot that I can't get out of. I don't dig a hole. So if I'm in a medium, the furthest I'm ever going to go is probably here. I can still spot the enemy mediums if they cross, and what are they going to do? If they push up here, I can just sit hull down here, and they can't do anything to me. I can still leave if I want. I can take this route and leave whenever I want undetected. However, if I decide to do this route here, which my 30B, E50M, and WZ did, guess what? Now if you try to leave, well, the enemy had a 183 there, they had an E3, and they have all their mediums. You insta-die. Putting yourself in a spot wide here is a disaster, and it's why you will never, ever see me. You can literally look at every single Yukon game I've ever played on the channel. I don't think you'll find a single one where I go wide unless it's already a win. And that is very simply because of the fact that going wide is going to solidify yourself a non-escapable route if your team falls apart. That's exactly what happened here. So you can see I'm just going to chill at this spot here. This spot gives me many different opportunities to leave. If people start rolling up behind me, I can just drive forwards and I can go into cover here. Or I can drive forwards and go into cover towards this area. If people are starting to go up this hill and try to push me off, I can back up, I can roll around here, I can drive down here where I've got support from my tanks. There are so many different routes I can take in this position to get out of. This is why you'll see me driving mediums here a lot. So general rule of thumb, don't put yourself in spots that you're going to get punished if you try to get out. That's really the best way to get out damage late game, even if you're going to lose. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.